The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
Greetings and salutations and all those nice things, my friend. Welcome to ForceCenter Live. Me and my drink. I'm Ken Napzok.
And my drink too. And you have my drink. Well, I don't know if I like that Lord of the Rings quote. I'm going to be a little selfish. This is my drink. It is mine. I am very, very happy to be here in my living room, but on the world's internet, and also kind of in your office with you, Ken.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out, taking this meeting at my place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My pleasure to not drive to Burbank this Friday afternoon.
Man, talk about real life. I had to have a meeting in Pasadena today. I was like, you want me to drive 20 minutes? Come on. Oh, there we go. Hey,
it's
a lot of
post-driving world, right?
It is. Yeah, no, I'd love that. Post-punk world in the 90s and a post-driving world now. A lot of people checking in here for a live Star Wars and Indiana Jones Q&A. Some of our favorites. Well, they're all our favorites, but we got some folks who are checking live for the first time, like Super Science Spin, finally able to catch live. But we also have a lot of folks, Joseph. We want knowledge up top. As always, this is the day where we kind of needed to go live this month. But also, we understand a lot of people are at the theater seeing that little Indiana Jones film.
It is both heartwarming and makes me question my own scheduling prowess to see all the wonderful comments from friends going, hey, we would love to watch live, but we're going to Indiana Jones. I'm so used to people, I think because we're in the movie talking world, so many of the people that I know they go to an advanced screening or they're chomping at the bit to go on Thursday. I forget that so many people make time to go with family on Fridays or have more standard hour jobs and all that. So, so excited to see everybody coming. And I'm sorry if we scheduled our Indiana Jones talk for during Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And I want to come back to that and get your opinion on something. Me and our buddy Ken Plume were talking about something off air that old people need to talk about in terms of going to movies in the times. You just made me think about that, putting a pin in that. Anyways, a shout out to all of you who are checking in. So here's the deal. I think if you are checking in to support us, number one, we love you. Two, give us that that old YouTube thing to help boost the show. And then just go to the theater, see the movie, and come back for the next time where we all can discuss the spoilers.
Is somebody who has done so much live performing, theater, sketch comedy, all that stuff. It doesn't really work for a live show for somebody like to pop into the first 3 minutes of your set and just scream at the stage. I'd like to watch, but I can't right now. I'll be back later. That doesn't work. So it's really nice to have a show where that works. Thank you, everyone who is saying that they're going to come back and rewatch it once they get to experience the Dial of Destiny. Enjoy, everyone.
I don't know if that's a sketch that needs to be written of someone coming in and going, hey, just saying, great, good for you. I'll be back. Enjoy your sketch show. But it works here on YouTube because not everyone can go. I'm going to look at the comments now. Brian Ward saying, hey, I'm probably not going to be able to go until next week. Brian's too busy making thumbnails for Indiana Jones reviews to actually go see Indiana Jones is what I'm sure is the case. The food in my beard, Dan checking in, saying he paused Young Indy for this, and he can't go till the next week as well. I think I saw there, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our friend Brian Ward had a great segue into something we should talk about. I probably won't see Indy until next week, so I'm here. Unless the spoilers start. The spoilers will not start on this stream because clearly everybody is still seeing it. So I think we will try to keep it close to our chest, our vest, however you like to say that saying. And we're happy to talk about Indy. We'd love to talk about Indy. We'd love to talk about Star Wars. So we're not going to divide it up or anything. If you've got Star Wars questions, if you got Indiana Jones questions, it's been great to see that everybody's been doing rewatches, topics. that you'd like to discuss, start putting them here in the comments. Star Wars or Indiana Jones, a free-for-all at Lucasfilm. Or
Free for
about
all indeed.
Lucasfilm. Not at Lucasfilm. Yoda, the Yoda statue and the Indy statue aren't fighting, but you know what I mean.
I'd love to see the two departments meet at the fountain and just have a rumble. That'd be interesting. Yeah. Spoilers not going to be here. We try to emotions can sometimes be spoilers, but we'll go into here in a bit. But also, I totally don't want to spoil anything for our ForceCenter audience. But more importantly, I do share an office wall with my fiance Grace, who hasn't seen it yet. We're going Sunday. I don't want to spoil it for her, so that's number one on my list right now.
Yeah, and maybe we can talk a little bit about our experiences of seeing it as people are sharing their experiences about when they're going to be able to see it, and if they're not watching it right now, why they aren't. I love getting all the insights and seeing all the different things going on with people. We should also probably mention the old super chats, huh, Ken?
We should indeed. We've already got a couple coming in here. Sorry, I'm trying to be professional. Grace just text me. I can hear you. Got a couple super chats already. Our buddy Ken Plume has a question already. We always say this: super chats not necessary to be part of the conversation. We look at all the comments here, but it definitely helps, and it definitely helps bump it up to our eyes. And we really appreciate keeping the show going. We're one of the last larger scale independent podcasts. Yes, we are attached to a network, Acast. Yes, we have ads through them, but we are an independent company. Joseph, Jennifer, and myself out here hacking our way through the wilderness because of your support, and those really help. We just wanted to highlight those as well, including like this one from our buddy Brennan Marr from Page Turners. They were not. We'll get to that one here in a bit as well.
Yeah. These are some great ones. Absolutely great. I love that Grace texted you. My wife is away. She is in the Midwest right now. So if she can hear me, we have a very special bond, and I hope she texts to let me know I can hear you through the mists of time and space.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about our experiences seeing the movie, but and I see our buddy Ken Plume in chat. We had this discussion off air last night that I want to get your take on it, Joseph. What your memories are. Do you recall when suddenly like the midnight release started to happen, and when it's not even Friday anymore, it's Thursday at 9, and now people were seeing it yesterday at 8 a.m. on a Thursday? Is this like Black Friday, which started in my security career as Friday and ended up Thanksgiving? Is it just a slow? Do you remember? Was Phantom Menace involved in that?
To my recollection, it was, and in my life experience, it definitely was. Like we've talked about on the podcast, when I was a kid, my parents didn't make movies a priority. We sometimes went to things months later, or when my parents got peer pressure from other parents. So I wasn't raised with that sort of you're there the first day, and before. God, sorry everybody. Before the internet, you still had a rotary dial to share spoilers. It wasn't as much of an imperative, because just the friends you're talking to, if they've already seen it, you're just relying on them to be cool. So a couple of the reasons that I see things right away, for the spoiler, and now for just kind of the culture of it, weren't there at all. I first remember going to midnight showings. The first midnight showing I ever went to was Phantom Menace. And then it was the early 2000s when a couple of friends would just randomly be like, I don't care, I want to be there on opening day. And like I went to Spider-Man 2002 opening day. I think a bunch of us went to see Matrix Reloaded at midnight. I had friends who just really wanted to see The Incredibles at midnight. And I remember in like 2003, 2004, it started to be that like, we're going to go to the showing on the midnight showing. I'm like, cool, I'll see you at midnight. Like, no, the midnight showing's at 7. And like, at least at first, as I recall, they didn't change it. It's like, it's still the midnight showing. It's not opening till tomorrow, but everybody's going on Thursday at 6 p.m. Like, all right, let's abuse language. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I love that. And Carmen Taylor in chat says, I saw Batman 89 at a midnight show. And first of all, Carmen, you're cool. And that's awesome that you got to see that. Second, that's about right. It seems to be around the time. And I worked at a movie theater for a while, both in my hometown. And when I moved to LA, I transferred down here to a Man Theaters in Granada Hills. And there were Wednesday releases. Like that was kind of big movies maybe came out on Friday. Some movies came out on Wednesday. That wasn't abnormal, but the event thing kind of makes sense that it definitely would be post Star Wars 77, the explosion. People want to see it. Totally get it. But I just don't remember it in my adult life until after the Phantom Menace. So Yeah. Anyways, good
we're seeing
information.
some good things from the chat that people did see. Things like Jurassic Park and Batman '89. So the midnight showings were going.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a part of it. I remember going to Batman '89. That was like sort of like,
Oh yeah.
well, I can be done with entertainment forever. Batman's going to be live action on the screen, no, not television.
Yes.
Amazing. That was first day for me.
Batman '89 was a Friday night. Dick Tracy was a Friday night. A bunch of us from school in 8th grade went. That was great. And then
it sounds like code. Dick Tracy was a Friday night.
Big boy did it. And then I was a studious kid, Joseph. I follow all the rules. You know that. But in what was that, 1992? Me and my friends ditched school for Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country on a Friday afternoon.
Ooh, my parents did take me to some of the Star Trek movies first day. I remember Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. It was all I could think about on the bus home from school. Trying to stop myself from telling other kids I'm on the voyage home to see The Voyage Home, because I knew they would probably physically attack me if I said that. Times have changed.
That's awesome. Then Jared says, I watched every Saw movie at midnight openings. That's special kind of horror.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, should we discuss our experiences seeing it? We dive into it. And again, for those just joining, number one, thank you. Two, if you're on your way in and out to go see the movie, give us a like to help the stream. And yeah, we are going to do a non-spoiler thoughts here. Not even a review, just our thoughts on Indy. But it does start with how you saw it.
Yeah. And I will keep probably saying throughout this that we're going to remain spoiler free. And if anybody wants to make that a drinking game, I certainly can't stop you. Spoiler free. I saw it last night at the 6:30 p.m. showing at Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
It was, and I really didn't know what to expect, because obviously I know the MCU is kind of going through a little bit of growing pains. And it's not quite middle age, but some awkward steps in life, and those movies aren't as hyped as they used to be. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy on like the Thursday or Friday, I can't remember, and James Gunn came out and did an intro and all that, and Feige, and it was still kind of muted, and in the theater wasn't entirely full. The theater was not entirely full last night, but the love was in the air. There were so many people dressed up as Indy.
Great.
I overheard a couple of different pairings of fathers and sons. I'm sure there were other gender dynamics, but I saw fathers and sons taking them, the father really taking pride in taking the son to see an Indiana Jones movie in the theater, but also a couple of people who'd clearly never been to Grauman's and were like, I can't believe we're seeing Indiana Jones here. So there was so much excitement. People applauded and cheered. I won't say for what moments, because spoiler free. I will say this because it's in all the trailers. This person was clearly waiting for this moment for weeks, months, their life. Timed it perfectly after the all the trailers. After at the Chinese theater, there's this laser countdown. It's not enough to see the movie, be in the movie. And then a fade to black right before the movie proper starts. And just in that blackness, this person screamed, "Give him hell, Indiana Jones!" And place blew up. I haven't been in a movie theater in like that in a while where there wasn't any energy of arms folded, let's see about this. It was people who loved Indiana Jones, and they loved that they were seeing a new Indiana Jones movie. Yeah.
Oh, that's encouraging. Because I'm going Sunday to a big theater locally, one of those ones with like rumble seats. I'm going to really experience it. And I got to be honest with you, a little nervous about what are you not going into the movie. I've had problems coming out of movies. Rise of Skywalker. I wanted to like get in a fist fight with a 17-year-old who was behind me. I'd already seen the movie a couple times, but I was with people who hadn't seen it yet. And he, through the entire movie, was just trash talking, not just Star Wars, but Daisy, really being just a real bleep. And as much as as grumpy as I am, I just don't want to be super confrontational because it never ends well, right? You got to know when to put the lightsaber down. And I get real anxious about that for these kind of event movies when I want to go with all my heart and experience it for myself and for others with me. And I have a little anxiety about that. So you're making me feel better.
Good, good. And you had a good time though, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we were going like I said on Sunday for our family viewing, so to speak. We can't bring the chihuahuas. But was, yeah, as mentioned on the podcast, was fortunate enough to be a +1. I was Mark Ellis's date to the premiere event, and that's number one. It's fun. Never lie about that. But it's press. It's a lot of cynical press people. It's a lot of people you work with in this business who I don't know. I don't agree with all their media literacy skills and points of view, but they get to go see the movie too, and it can be a little tension filled. But they do a great job of it's you got George and Steven and Harrison there. I could look down and see where Phoebe was sitting. I watched Phoebe Waller-Bridge listen to John Williams play her theme live. And talk about the character of Helena, but also Phoebe inspiring the music, and it's a 1940s kind of old Scott. You get to that's the ones that's a great thing, but it's also they do a great job of bringing in, the cynical damn press people like us, but also people who are there to have fun, costumes, all that stuff. That vibe is there. They do a great job of mixing and match. So the vibe was wonderful going in, and quite frankly, the vibe was wonderful coming out as well.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, it has. I see other people saying, it's sometimes challenging to know whether you're with a crowd that has its heart
Right.
out. And I think, I had my heart wrapped up a little bit, and it was this really nice feeling of like, oh, I can take my heart out. I can cheer. I can applaud. I can laugh at little things because there were some big laughs and there was lots of little scattered laughs at things that landed better with this corner of the theater, and it was really great to feel like, yep, I have the permission to love Indy out loud.
Love Indy Out Loud. That's a great book. Eat, pray, love Indy Out Loud. Our buddy Alex David is here. Says, I liked it. I've been looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Yeah.
Also, Alex, check your emails. You can hear them up close if you want. And we should say, programming wise, Joseph, you and I are going to record our Dial of Destiny deep dive discussion episode Monday afternoon and get it out as soon as I can finish the editing of the video, which basically means just putting down music.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. Got many thoughts, and I'm seeing it again on Sunday as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obi-Wan Jacoby, who just had to leave us, but Obi-Wan said, I love getting involved in a movie with a crowded theater. No experience I've had beats cheering and clapping along to Avengers Endgame. That might have been the biggest crowd response that I've ever been involved with. Star Wars, there's been probably nothing bigger than the applause at the beginning of the Phantom Menace, or the Force Awakens, but some of those Avengers Endgame inside the movie beats, woo, amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Avengers one. I'm trying to think of some of my bigger crowd reactions. And for some reason, I'm going to the opening laugh from the movie Dirty Work, which is probably not the best example of a lot of things. I do love the movie Dirty Work, which maybe I shouldn't, but I do. But there's a big laugh line early on, and an entire theater laughed heartily. Yeah, I don't know, crying in Titanic, crying at Mr. Holland's Opus. Yeah, maybe in Avengers Endgame. It's those four.
That is hilarious. Well, should we grab some questions?
Yeah, let's do that here. You want to start up at the top here with our buddy Ken Plume checking in here. Check out his show, Open Chats and Force 5 on his YouTube channel. You and I have both been on that show. Which Indiana Jones figure are you?
I am torn between the retro Temple of Doom indie action figure, because he's looking like he's having a difficult day. Where his shirt is all torn and he's like, I don't know, I got a big knife, a machete maybe, I don't know, I'm doing my best. That vibe. I was looking at, of course, the wonderful new Adventure series line. Now that I've actually seen the movie, I was looking more closely at the Dial of Destiny indie, and that the sculpt on that face from the photos I could see from Dial of Destiny, Adventure series, Indiana Jones, is so not yelling at clouds, but I don't need to deal with your BS, clouds. Middle-aged to older person vibe on that figure. I sense myself there. How about you, Ken?
We are in the same ballpark, but I'll get to it perhaps a different route. I think in my head, I would love to consider myself Club Obi-Wan 6-inch series, Black Series figure, right? With the Harrison Ford Indy in the white tux, the red flower, and James Bondy, and sliding in there all under control, though he does lose some control as Indy does. I'd like to think that's me. But the reality is, you said it, and I saw it yesterday in Target. That vintage 3 3/4 Temple of Doom Indy just has the vibe. Not only what you said too, but also, that's a rather buff Harrison Ford. We know he worked out real hard for that movie and that scene, but the figure isn't as, shall we say, 1995 Power of the Force. It's a blank slate, and I think that's what I am. I want to be Club Obi-Wan, but I'm really just this tired, casual shirt open Ken sitting there at the
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the Club Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I'm staring off wistfully because he's right over there. I got home late last night and and had an emotional moment opening my Club Obi-Wan.
That's great.
Indie figure. So good.
That's great. Oops, I just took off that's not smart. I shut down half my screen here. All right, we're back up. Got a question, and then I threw a curveball at Joseph. You might see in the waiting room.
I see, and I welcome.
So let's take a question here. What do you think? You one pop out, or should we just throw our curveball?
Well, you know what? Let's do this one because then I can stop myself from holding back.
Yes.
This is from Page Turners. They were not. Question: what's your favorite Indiana Jones franchise action scene? Ken, do you mind if I jump on this?
Please.
There are many great scenes, and I'm not saying it is the best. It just might be my favorite. And it is the one we were just talking about, which is why I wanted to take this question. It is the Club Obi-Wan sequence. Yeah. Look at this guy. Look at him in his light. There's so much I love about it. I talked about it a lot on our discussion review of Temple of Doom podcast that we did. I think I like it because it's so pulpy. You got the anything goes music. It's a little bit more violent and over the top, and it's so great going from one problem to another to the almost like little pause of breath. The entire sequence escalating until nice try, Alicia.
Yeah.
And then the realization that it's not over. Like the way it goes from him sitting down in this tux all the way to slowing down on the raft and being surrounded by people they don't know. Like that whole thing is it's a short film onto itself. And I could say the whole thing is basically one action scene. Last thing, and then I will stop going on and on about this. There's so many accessories that come with him, but I picked the diamond and the antidote.
Oh,
that's another reason that I love this so much. I think it's so much of what Indiana Jones is about throughout the films is what is the real treasure, what is the value of treasure. And I just love how over the top and how sharp it is that the things that are being chased after in this opening sequence are greed, wealth, power, what an object can give me, just a big diamond versus my life, the ability to go on. It's so over the top, and yet it's so the heart of Indiana Jones.
It is. And I'm waiting to get to one of the final episodes of Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, where that Peacock's Eye diamond is introduced. That is great. Yeah. So my favorite action sequence, I have to be honest and be careful about recency bias, because the train explosions, chase, disguises, a gun op and malfunctioning. This big sequence in Dial of Destiny, it's one of my favorites.
We're staying spoiler free, but that was great.
Just one of my favorite things. I loved it. So to avoid that, and also, got to be careful of recency bias. I get that. It's the tank chase, Last Crusade, solid getting the horses, the brothers of the crucifix form showing up, the cruciform showing up. That entire sequence, the humor, the action. Often, you and I talked about when talking about Last Crusade, when you kind of remove yourself and just think, hey, what do I think of when I think of Indiana Jones? It's the way that scene was shot. It's the colors. It's the action. It's the comedy, it's the thrill. I will go with the tank chase from Last Crusade.
That is phenomenal. I wish there was somebody else who liked Indiana Jones who could maybe answer that question as well.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Maybe this guy can explain what he enjoys about Indiana Jones. Hey,
I
buddy.
just finished talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny for an hour with Molly for our Q&A tomorrow.
Wow.
And then I was like, I was sitting down to watch this, and then Ken emails me, and I went back upstairs and I put back on my only Indiana Jones shirt so I could come crash.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a hardworking guy, and you and Molly put all this wonderful content that you work so hard on. But yeah, I felt bad, but I'm like, I know he's probably like, it's Friday night, I'm going to have a beer, put on some slippers, and watch my friends. But no, you're part of the show here for a bit. So there you go.
That's fine. I'm happy to be. I'm excited to hear all of your thoughts.
There will be many. Yeah. I love your shirt. I'm wearing I normally wear a Jedi robe on this, but I'm wearing my plain gray t-shirt because I love how much Harrison Ford seems to like plain gray t-shirts. It was his costume in the Blade Runner sequel, and then I feel like he was in like 3 different commercials where just like,
yes,
I'll show up and advertise anything as long as you let me wear my favorite gray shirt. Great Harrison Ford thing. What is actually on your shirt, Alex?
It's the Raven. It's Marian's bar from Nepal.
Nice. That is so great.
That's amazing. Alex, what you and Molly, when you saw the film, what was your experience at the theater? What was the vibe like for you all?
We went at 3 p.m., which I love. What you were talking about, midnight releases, and I remember going to see The Dark Knight Rises, and we were like, we can't do this anymore at midnight. Like, it's just, we're too tired by the end of it. Then they were doing the 7 o'clock shows. I was like, this is great. 3 o'clock show, even better. So it was not a full theater at all. We went with like 5 friends, and there were a handful of others there. It was a pretty just chill experience, but it was good. I like it like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Monday at 1 p.m. with a sandwich. Best time to see a movie.
Yeah, I end up seeing horror movies at like random times, like, a Sunday afternoon or Tuesday at 4 p.m. And I've really been enjoying seeing like the new Halloween and Scream movies with like 6 other people in the theater. And then it's extra scary than when one of them screams randomly from like 30 feet away.
I love that.
I always get a little bit excited when it's just Molly and I in a theater for a while. And I'm like, are we going to have this whole theater to ourselves?
Yeah.
It's like when you're in the plane and everyone's boarding and you're like, I think I get an empty seat next to me. Oh, no. So, but the vibe was good, Alex. People dressed up, feeling it. And again, for me, to clarify, it's not like I need everyone in the theater to love what I love or that the movie's going to be perfect. It just sometimes I get tense of just like, is there going to be active hate in the theater with me? Yeah. How is the vibe?
Lots of indie shirts, lots of fedoras. I think I saw one person kind of full on in the leather jacket and everything. It definitely seemed like a crowd that people are like, yes, I want to go at 3 p.m. in the middle of the day to see this as early as I can.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love that.
And, sorry. I did want to ask Alex about his favorite action scene in the franchise.
Yeah,
I think I probably would just go and be boring and say the very beginning of Raiders, kind of like you talking about the Temple of Doom is just this short film on its own. I feel like the prologue for Raiders of the Lost Ark could have just been a little 10-minute short film and it would be wonderful and I'd love it. So that I just remember being obsessed with just that for a long time as a kid.
Yeah.
I also love the truck chase in Raiders as well. I think Raiders has my favorite action set pieces.
The Temple of Doom is my favorite, but if I was going to try to make an argument for just sort of like the best constructed, most inventive action scene, that truck one in Raiders just really sets the bar with the not that it hadn't been done before, but being done to such perfection. The getting off the truck, back in the truck, and I love that becomes such an indie staple of like, yeah, no, I switch vehicles and come back to original vehicles and chases all the time. It's like it's a totally normal thing to do.
I remember seeing that shot of from the Dial of Destiny trailer of like the tuck chase where Indy jumps from one to the other as it's colliding into something else. I knew I was going to like that chase from that shot in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, that is great.
Love
that is great.
Love that. We got some questions to get to, including right before he came on, a super chat from Alex that we'll ask there.
It's almost like I just wanted to come and
it's
talk
pay
about
to play.
specific.
It's pay to play. Ken Bloom says, "Going to need Alex to answer which indie figure he is." How's your indie figure collection? Number one, Alex, and which indie figure do you see yourself as?
I don't think I have a single indie action figure.
What?
I have the fertility idol back there.
Right.
You can see I've got the Molly got
Dangerous
me
to have.
the headpiece to the Staff of Ra for my birthday this year.
Okay.
And I've got the Ark of the Covenant from Sideshow. But I don't think I have any actual indie action figures. I have a Funko Pop, so I guess I'm the Funko Pop.
Which Funko Pop do you have?
He is holding the fertility idol. Yeah, see, like you can tell, I love that golden idol. So anything that includes that along with Indiana Jones, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
We do have I have several Indiana Jones Legos, so I guess I could be the Lego as well.
Yeah. Love that. No, I have a Mighty Mug. I have a Funko Pop, I think, but I have the Mighty Mug Indie, which is I think a harder find. It's in the box. Maybe I should look at selling it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. But if Funko works, I could see you as an Indie Funko.
I should have answered that I'm the tiny monkey that is hiding behind Marian's dress.
Bad dates.
I was definitely tempted by the latest line, and it upset me that if you got all of them, you would be able to build the Ark. And so then I was like, if I just buy Indie, I'm gonna wind up buying all of them. So I think I showed some restraint.
That's great.
Understandable.
Sorry, I one thing just popped up that I have to deal with in life. Isn't that what a live show is always about? Do we want to die? Do we want to kind of get into this, Joseph? What do you? It's such territory.
Well, should we answer the question that Alex paid to ask himself?
Yes. And where is the one that pairs with it nicely? There it is. Yes, that's the one. Also, I'll bring that back up here, but this one came in a little bit before. Which Star Wars character is your Club Shido? Or as Alex David usually puts it, which character do you think you're the biggest fan of? So there you go. Your questions precede you, Alex.
Yeah, that's my thing. But I've actually had a lot of people asking me this, which I never thought to ask it before. And I think it's a great question of who are your favorite kind of side characters from the indie franchise?
Yeah, it's great. So we have a Star Wars and an indie one here. So this is
Ken, do you need to deal with a life thing? Do you want one of us to go first?
Go first. But
no, please. If you're ready, go for it. I just wanted to give you time to text.
So in terms of Indiana Jones, there's obviously less to not care about, but less to choose from. I think I go like for me, it's like I adore Sala, but who doesn't adore Sala? So that's not fair. I adore
That's
Marcus
the Wedge
Brody.
Antilles answer.
Yes, right. That. But then like sometimes I go to who do you like to when you're with your friends. Who do you impersonate or what moments? So for me, it's like, if you're a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse. The butler at the castle is one of my favorites. Even the Frau Verbissima inspiring, Nazi lady turned around with that smile into a scream, not rooting for Nazis, but that's a hilarious moment to me. And I've always loved that character in that moment. And it's ones I'll do with my friends. I just turn around and be like, there's things like that. Things like that I go to. And the lead brother in the Cruciform. I don't know why I'm drawing the blank in the name, but I love him too. I just love the performance and the moments he has in that film.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's interesting because it makes you ponder what exactly is the charm of a Star Wars Glup Shido. This name has come up for the sort of the small character, which is so fun to debate. What is a small character,
right?
Depending on your level of investment in Star Wars, and so we had somebody leave a nice YouTube comment on our last stream saying, that hadn't really watched us before and really enjoyed it, but we had made a reference to the fact that Lobot wasn't obscure. And it was a very nice, you all need to touch grass comment. It was said very nicely, but it was a firm disagreement with the idea that Lobot is well known. And it just it reminded me to always check myself before I Lobot myself.
Yeah.
The amount of time, like I love asking people that question, and I know that it's usually people who aren't as involved as I am.
Yeah.
And so Wedge Antilles is the answer that comes up a lot. And I always just go like, yep, great answer. Because to them, he is obscure.
Yeah.
To me, he's like the star of the X-Wing books.
Our friends and Ken Plume is involved with this podcast. We got this during the pandemic. They had me on as a guest. If nobody knows about We Got This, it's a funny, charming, thoughtful podcast where they debate the merits of things like favorite Disneyland ride or best condiment on a hot dog. And they asked me to do like best. I can't remember if it was small character or side character in Star Wars, and I had an existential crisis. There were spreadsheets. I was like having anxiety about it because like we can't call Mon Mothma a side character. Like I know she doesn't have much screen time, but she is the leader of the. We can't do that. So I think I have scar tissue about this. The podcast ended up being fun. I probably went on too long, but it was a very fun podcast. Anyway, I think for Indiana Jones. For me, what makes the Star Wars character interesting is you just get a tidbit of them, but it's really spicy. They have an interesting look, so you want an action figure of them, or you want to know more about them.
Right.
So the two that I would go for is I don't know if the character probably has a name somewhere in Indiana Jones lore, but Love You Eyelids woman.
Right.
The sentiment's great,
Great
but I want to know more about this person that they woke up one morning and chose to do that and how they thought it would work out for them.
Yeah.
And if they've used that tactic elsewhere. So that, and then, I love the monkey from Raiders. I don't love the monkey scene in Crystal Skull. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I do like that the monkey has the same hairdo and kind of looks at Mutt like, yeah, you and me, buddy. So Mutt hair monkey is my glove show.
I love that.
I think that my new answer is from Dial, and it's hard to talk about without because it's a character that gets swept up into the adventure and is just along for the ride. And he very quickly kind of dove into it, and I was like, kudos to you, man. I wanted him to.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was just empathizing with him so much, and so I think he's my new favorite.
He reminds me of one of my favorite comic personalities, Dave Gruber from Higgins Boys and Gruber, and yes, love that. Vague answer, but I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from
spoiler
spoilers
free
for now, but for some older movies that I can spoil, again, it's like there's too many Nazis that have funny moments, but the Nazi
it's the reality of it. Again,
the Nazi that salutes the monkey and then is like confused about it. That's a moment I've always enjoyed. I also like Satipo a lot. I feel like he's small enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Small but iconic. He's perfect.
One of the ones I just kind of gathered my thoughts a little bit on that. I do love Dan Aykroyd's Weber from Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah.
His Dan Aykroyd sketch comedy British accent setting up for a great joke, a great payoff with the door closed and everything, and just the I did a good job. I got you the only plane out. So I love Weber.
Yeah, it's a fun challenge and a reason to read them all. And that's without going into the television show. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud is my favorite Indiana Jones.
Mike Lupshadow.
Yeah, I think Dan from Food My Beard said Leo Tolstoy. Not a wrong answer.
Jared says the librarian stamping books. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, that is.
There's so many just little like fun side people that get little moments that are funny.
Ooh, yeah, I was trying to remember the character's name. Had to look up the name, but Captain Katanga is intriguing me. That man is made of charm. He's on screen for such a short time, but every choice is big in interesting without drawing like focus or in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, my actual first answer when someone asked us this on the Q&A, it's like his maybe first mate, but when Indy goes missing on the ship and Katanga's like, keep looking for him, and the guy that goes, I found him. Where? There. I always love that dude.
I love the moment because it's such a we can't find him. Well, you're in it, and I just love I love that. There. I think we talked about it a little bit on the Raiders discussion on Perilous Podcast, but as a youngster, Katanga is so convincing when the Nazis boarded him that I was upset that he was a traitor to Indy. Like I bought it. I was like, what? What's he doing? What's he doing? 8-year-old Kenny. Some other great answers. Yeah, and I would James helped me remember. Kazim is from the Cruciform Sword. I just absolutely love his performance in that film there. And yeah, James comes back with Jeffrey Wright, Sidney Bichette from Young Indy, which is the Mystery of the Blues episode. Jeffrey Wright is good in anything he does. Just walking around having coffee, he's a better performer than most actors. So yeah, that's a great call out.
Molly wanted me to make sure I mentioned hers as well, because when we were answering this, she said, I really like the Ghost. And I was like, who? The Ghost from Last Crusade. And then I was like, is she talking about when it was supposed to be a haunted house movie? And how does she know about that? She's like, the Ghost at the end. And I was like, the Knight? And she's like, yes, the Knight. He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead yet.
Well, yeah.
He's not dead yet.
But now she calls him the Ghost and everything. And she's thrilled he's getting an action figure.
He is getting an action figure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is great. We got a good one here from Lauren Romo too. The older woman in Last Crusade that was so fast to show her ticket to Indy.
Yes.
Any character played by Pat Roach. That's
yeah.
Always like.
Yeah, no, indeed. The Temple of Doom one has, a slightly problematic angle to it, but the death is brilliant and the fight is wonderful. So,
yeah. Yep. German mechanic. I want to find that action figure out in the wild.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've seen it several times at Tiny Target.
Ooh, I'm going to go to Tiny. I know what you're talking about. We got a code.
Got a code. Tiny Target has it.
Targets in the valley. I'm going to Tiny Target.
Next, I'll tell you what. I go there about twice a week for French yogurt and pizza. So if it's there, I'll get it for you. You don't have to drive over. It's far from you. All right, great questions coming in. This is a very fun, informal hang, and we
Molly is.
I don't think Molly's wrong.
No. And I think it's he's gonna be a ghost soon.
Yeah, he's like, finally, I can be a ghost. Finally. Yeah, I guess we keep dancing around it, huh, Joseph? We should just let's just maybe do 30 seconds of what we feel about the movie. Should we do that? Yeah. And Alex, I know you've done your review. I've seen your great thumbnail of you did your YouTube review thumbnail. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's fun making those.
Yeah. Brian Ward, get to work. I'll say this. I absolutely love my experience. I love the film. The one I'll start off with my one big giant negative at 2 hours and 34 minutes. My back can no longer take that. And so I felt that. And therefore there was one moment where I felt like, some of the pacing, we've got some double exposition, which usually India has a big exposition scene. I felt we had double. That's such a small little thing. And it's more about the surgery I need versus the movie experience. But man, I really loved it and found this to be a deep philosophical movie, as well as hitting all the fun points. No indie movie is perfect, so I don't even feel I need to even address that kind of stuff. I just was swept away with the emotions and swept away with what it had to say. To me, it's the simple pitch of Indiana Jones versus the one artifact you can't get a handle on, which is time. And that's something we all face either now or later. It'll get you. And also a film that deals with what the franchise is and what the lessons learned. I think that's a lot of what Helena represents, and where you go with that. And as I said in my tweet at the time, it's about all that you can't and can leave behind. And I was really swept up in the philosophy of that and the emotions of that. So I can't wait to see the second time and pick out more of the things. And the action was great and blah, blah, blah. The humor, loved it. But I was swept away by the big central theme, and it really moved me. And that's not everyone's going to experience that. I get that. And maybe it's about where you are in your life at that time, but I was in the right spot for it.
That is great. That's great. I'm actually going to set a timer. Try to keep myself to 30 seconds. And I'm hitting go. And I'm going to waste a precious second saying, I agree with you about the length. I'm excited to see it again. I think that there is some stuff toward the end that I'm glad that they changed it up because it made it a little bit uncertain of where exactly we're going and how. So I like that. But my bladder did not. Oh, I'm at 17 seconds. Oh, no.
Well, you didn't tell us really didn't post time. You got time. Go.
You said 30 seconds. I'll keep it to a minute-ish. I was deeply moved by it. I think it is different from other Indiana Jones films because all the Indiana Jones films are films of their time, and that is a part of their power. They're all very similar, but also very different from one another. And this is a film of its time, and one of the things that is different about it is a film about the end of a journey, and there's deep, beautiful emotions from that. The parts that were similar was to me a celebration of everything that Indiana Jones has been, every construct of entertainment, of the action set piece, the comedy, the heart, and it really touched heavily on every major idea that's present in the other Indiana Jones films and really put a bow on them, in my opinion. I was thrilled and I was really, really deeply moved.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that is a lot about where you are in your lives, but that the messages find you when you need to be found. And I think that hopefully this message will remain strong for those when they need it. I think that's key. And because of that, Joseph, am I sneaking in on your time? You have a rebuttal.
No. I did 90 seconds. Horizon Brave says, I wish it was so verbose that I would have to set a timer in order to stop talking.
Yeah, love it there. Alex, I know your review is up and your thoughts are out there, but for our ForceCenter audience just here now, what's your, we'll give you 29 seconds to know. Your thoughts, your emotions, your non-spoiler thoughts.
I liked it quite a bit. I think it would be my third favorite Indiana Jones movie. Mm-hmm. I like it about as much, probably a little bit more than Temple of Doom. I basically walked out of it feeling very happy and content. Didn't walk out of it feeling like it changed my life the way that I felt like the first Indiana Jones movies did when I was 12, which is unrealistic, but still the back of my mind, I'm like, I wish. But it's also the only indie movie that, like, as the credits were rolling, I was wiping away a tear. So it did move me. I thought it was really, really fun. I don't have any negative things to say that aren't just kind of like nitpicky or like boxes that needed to be checked or whatever, supposedly. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think I will probably enjoy it more when I see it a second time and like all of the expectations are swept away and I'm just watching it for fun and not to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. In fact, James Farley has a great thing that I super related to. He says about the film, it's so rich. 10 minutes in, I had a thought I wanted to write down, and that never stopped. I walked away with 5 Alamo Drafthouse order cards filled front and back with notes. I love that. I won't write notes in a theater. I maybe someday, if I'm seeing something for the second or the third time, maybe I'll sit in the back row and jot something down, with pen and pencil. But there were some times during this film that there were specific lines and specific ideas I like so much. When a film inevitably has this sort of like an establishing shot and it gives you like a 5-second break, I was having like a mantra going of like this thing. Remember those?
Yeah. I can't. There's a scene, I guess we'll say, that I can't wait to get back to with a second set of eyes as I see it a second time, because it's one of those things that, me, Joseph, I sell those carnival bottom basement theories where it's like I think it's the core of the movie and what the movie is talking about, and I've already had discussions with folks who have just did not engage with that level. Again, totally fine. It's not about that, but what is about that? It's about like, I've already heard some questions. Well, this. I'm like, you have to go back to this one scene. And I can't wait to discuss that more. So I just think it's all packed into it in a scene that has some humor and might be taken on a surface level, but really the thesis of the film is being stated there. And that's, James, you could hang with us. I'm going to bring some note cards in maybe while Grace is looking already.
I desperately want to know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but
I have a
it's
guess,
just,
but
yeah.
I'll ask
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's great.
Oh, there's all sorts of sounds going on inside my body as I stop myself from saying things.
I know it's yeah, there you go. Our buddy Alden from Octo Radio Stone, visceral emotional reactions film really got me. So beautiful. Yeah, that's the thing. And you know, it's I think there's always, when you see something like this big on this large of a pop culture event scale, like, yeah, sometimes you're gonna feel like, all right, did it hit this note? Did it hit that? And all that's good. And again, by the way, at the end of the day, this might not work for some folks. Already had those conversations. Always fair. And as long as it's a good faith reason, or you engage with it in a good way, I think I'm totally fine with those discussions. But yeah, I really think this is a deep film. Also, by the way, I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is probably one of the deepest layered films in the series. You and I just had our what was probably one of my favorite podcast discussions, our Crystal Skull episode, and I think this went to those some kind of levels for me that you know, you just have to engage with. Get a little shovel, do some archaeological digging for themes.
Yeah, and I know we preach trying to manage your expectations, which for me came out of realizing that sometimes that I really disliked things I was looking forward to. I realized it was because I had thought that it was going to be X, and instead it was Y, and then I was grumpy about it. And then when I would revisit it years later, I'd be like, oh, when I get rid of X, I just enjoy Y. But I think that cuts the other way sometimes, and I know that there's a benefit for that. I feel like this film has one of the best trailers for clearly communicating what the film is and what is at stake in the film. That I don't mean this in any sort of like I'm patting myself on the back or I predicted X, Y, or Z. I just think that the film was communicated so well in the trailer that a lot of the events, a lot of the beats, a lot of the themes is what I was wanting. So I got to have an experience where I got exactly what I expected. And as much as I try to contain my own expectations, it still can be satisfying when you go in with expectations and it's not a fight. And instead it's here's the expectations fulfilled.
It's always hard, like with these multi-decade franchises, to get those expectations out of your head. And Molly and I were talking, like I just like the format of the globetrotting adventure. So I'll see any movie that's like it. I was one of the few people that was like psyched to see the Uncharted movie and walked out of it going like, that was a lot better than I thought it would be. And so Molly was like, if we went and saw Uncharted and it was Dial of Destiny, like you wouldn't shut up about how good it was. It's like, yeah, you're probably right. But because I've been with Indiana Jones for so long and I'm like, I want it to be this good.
Yeah.
It's so easy to set those impossible standards.
They get high, and I've been really appreciating in our discussions for the Perilous podcast. I really think Raiders is lightning in a bottle. It's like you can't ever quite entirely recapture that, and it's made me appreciate Raiders, but it's also made me appreciate the rest of the whole series because each movie is its own thing, which is great because you're not going to be Raiders again. Raiders is just, in my opinion, a special magic that happens sometimes. It's great work of everyone involved, but it's also just more than the sum of its parts. It's like you can't quite do that again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You and I discussed that, and we're not the first to that party. Just how Raiders it's a film. It's from the 70s. It's different. The vibe's different, and everything changes from there on out. And it will never just be Raiders again. And that's, I think, the joy of the series for me is it finds ways to adapt to the story it's telling, which is again why I love. I've been obsessed with analyzing the 1950s in American culture and the damage it's caused, and including that starts with like the sport of baseball, which this rose-colored view of the 1950s for baseball, which is and for Crystal Skull to just go into that, like you and I were discussing, like it's that's doing something Raiders couldn't even dream of doing for me, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, because they didn't know they'd end up there. I was thinking about that on the way home because I felt that this film was Mangold and all the writers really looking at everything that Spielberg and Lucas did and all the writers who contributed to the first four films and really trying to honor it and move it forward, in my opinion. But that also just made me think of Lucas and Spielberg on a beach going, we want to make an action adventure, and he's gonna have a whip, and it's gonna be fun, and there's gonna be punching, and there's gonna be ladies, and it is injected with all of this thought and emotion because that's who they are. But they just started out like, I know people say that playing with action figures is an insult. I think of it as it's an instinct to play and to create, and they wanted their well, we can't have James Bond, so we're gonna put a different hat on our James Bond action figure and have an adventure, and it grows into this beautiful, thoughtful thing because they can't stop themselves.
You mentioned, this is kind of a side note, but you mentioned the playing with action figures veiled insult that we hear a lot. I heard it recently at a job, and yesterday I had you and I, Joseph, talk about those conversations you have in your car or your shower where you're yelling at someone because you can't yell at them in real life. I went on a monologue in my gym yesterday about the whole playing with action figures insult and why it's wrong. I was just like, God, and it's stuff that you've said, it's stuff that I've said. I just said it to my wall because I just was so mad at that.
Just yelling on the treadmill and someone's next to you like, oh my God.
Playing with your action figures, dumb little kid stuff. Oh my God. So funny you mentioned that. I'm still processing.
It's a phrase that's like meant a lot to me, and now it feels like it's one of those phrases that's like there's a battle for whether it's a fun, beautiful thing the way I mean it, or just a slam dunk. This is bad. It's just playing with action figures and everybody knows it. And like, I want to rescue the phrase so it can still mean something positive to me.
Rescuing the phrase is a great way to look at it. Yeah. More thoughts on that, I'm sure, at ForceCenter too. Should we get some questions here with Alex? Alex, I know you got a Friday night. If you need to go feed the dogs.
I'm going to a show in 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And I'll have dinner before that, but
just screech it in then. And feel free to eat on the stream. We love the messier, the better.
So trying to get to any kind of question. Like I said, if you're watching now, send a super chat. We love those. It helps to highlight the questions, but we're pulling from a lot of different things here. Douglas, our buddy, Douglas Dubois. What character would you love to see crossover between Star Wars and Indy? And should we take Han Solo and Indy off the board? That's a bit of a cheat, right? I think so. All right. So, Alex, do you have a thought here? What's one character you'd love to see crossover? Either direction.
Well, everyone always calls Dr. Aphra like Space Indiana Jones, but I think she's Space Belloc. So I want to somehow pull Belloc into Star Wars and let's pit them against one another and give Aphra a chance to be better than him. I think that would be fun.
That's a great answer. Give her a chance to be better than him. That's wonderful. Love that. Yeah. Chance for Star Wars redemption in India.
Yeah. I love it.
Cool. I'm struggling with some choices here, Joseph. Do you have one queued up?
Yes. The Star Wars character that I would like to enter the world of Indiana Jones and interact directly with Indiana Jones is Hondo. Hondo seems like nefarious Sala, right? And I love the Hondo development. Also, just kind of fits with Indiana Jones. Of been around the world, and instinct is towards selfishness, but somebody's in trouble. Like Hondo, you could almost slot into Indiana Jones' role in Temple of Doom. Of fortune and glory, Ezra, fortune and glory, and all right, I'll help these people.
I love that. That's a great choice. If I'm sending one from Star Wars into Indiana, it's Sheev Palpatine, the politician. He seems like someone who Indy would have to go up against, and Indy would maybe find out. Walter Donovan was a little more direct, which a character I do love Julian Glover, but like he'd be on his side, and then Indy to figure out no, you're not, and he discovered the truth of that situation.
Like that. Matty Gunner here has got our pal Matty's got Tika the Jawa.
That's funny.
Indy finds a lost treasure in the hands of the Jawas.
I love that.
Yeah, for an Indy character going into Star Wars, the monkey who eats the bad dates, I think, could be best friends with Salacious Crumb. They could do crime together.
Yeah, that's a good one there. Who am I sending from Indy into? I don't know. It's like I would love to see what Marion Ravenwood can do. She is kind of our Leia, obviously, and that's maybe a simple overgeneralized comparison, but from that great Raider scene, which I still think is one of the best introductions of a character in film history, to where she ends up, Chris Cole, whatnot. I think she could follow that path, but she'd be a rebel to her core. I think once she's zeroed in on what her place in the galaxy is and what she needs to fix and who she needs to help, I see her as like a Leia and Kira type.
You saying that she is our Leia, and it's like that's not totally fair, but I remember listening to the soundtrack show, and David W. Collins talked about how Leia's theme and Marion's theme start with the same 2 notes. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Got some great comments here. Laserboat Videos saying Indiana Jones in the world. That might be my favorite.
Spaces is what they called it in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but same thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And Jared Kozal, Jar Jar Binks would thrive in the chaotic energy of the Indiana Jones verse. Some of Indy's action scenes are like the cool version of Jar Jar, of like sometimes he means to do the cool thing and sometimes he just gets lucky.
Mm-hmm. Maddie Gunner has a comment that then is backed up by Haunted Autumn there. A conversation between Sala and Dex, which Haunted Autumn says as well would be, that would be the stories they could tell.
Give them hell, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, look at that. What you eating there, Alex? What's tonight's roast?
They're stuffed peppers.
Ooh.
I was going to cook with Molly, and then Ken made me come up here. And she was like, you go talk with Joseph and Ken.
you go play with your friends.
I had permission.
Here's my mom gave me $1 and dropped me off at the park and ride. Thank you, Smigel. Love that there.
Oh yeah. I agree with Aaron Thompson. Obi-Wan getting a drink at Club Obi-Wan.
Oh, would like the world cease to exist? Just poof, space time continuum messes up.
Anything goes, indeed.
Yeah, anything goes, indeed. Great question. Fun stuff there. I'll remove that one.
And I want to pop up this very kind super chat. Thank you for sending in the super chats, everybody, for questions, but also just for comments like this. Co1T Streeter 77. Give me some sort of Marcus Brody Major Domo crossover action. Yes,
love that.
I can really see the fish responding to my favorite Marcus Brody line of fish make love in it. No, not water. Fish make love in it.
I love that line. I didn't notice it until I had the subtitles on probably a couple years ago, and I was like, that's hysterical.
It's so funny, and there's maybe I'm wrong, but my instinct, the Force tells me no writer wrote that down.
Yeah, the genius.
And the cut from Indy talking about how badass Marcus is.
Yes,
it's one of my favorites.
So good.
Yeah, Denholm Elliott's comedy, and John Reese's Davies comedy in Last Crusade. That's one of the reasons it all works, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we've got some questions here. Alex, you eat, we'll answer. You answer if you want. If your mouth's full, you don't need to answer. Jared is just going, when meeting celebs at cons, are you a picture and autograph person? No, for me, no, neither. Unless, it's something like, I know you had a real awesome special one that you might talk about again, Joseph, that I think is an absolute must. But yeah, for me, it's a nod. Like I met Tim Meadows once at the farmer's market where I was working, and we just looked at each other. I went, hey, and that's all I needed. No pictures, no autographs.
Yeah, I think I might start to become an autograph person. I think, so the only thing I've ever done in recent times is, I know I've talked about on ForceCenter, and I think on a live stream here, paid to get the Ian McDermott photo, and it was an amazing experience. It was cool to see what that photo experience was. I know, other actors take time and discuss poses. I'm sure it's still really fast. And, Ian McDermott, bless his soul, was being conscious about his safety. So there's a glass partition up, and he made sure to make eye contact and thank you, and was very, very warm. But then he just stood there like he was taking his photo, for LinkedIn or the news that his company acquired another smaller company. It was there was no like, Mr. McDermott, I'm gonna do. No, it was just you do your thing, and I'll just be here being Ian McDermott, and that was charming and wonderful. But it made me think that I might want to get his autograph sometime because I think there is a little bit more room for just like a moment, and it's less about maybe a little bit more about getting that just a even 30 seconds of interaction, which to me is maybe more important even than the memento. The other thing I think is I might start doing them a little bit more for honestly just actors who are older, so that I can have that memory.
I love that. Go ahead, Alex.
I agree with Joseph that if you're at a con, I usually go autograph over picture because you have time while they're signing or you're like picking out the picture, whatever, to chat. And I've never had an experience where someone didn't want to do that. They've always been super cool, super engaging. So I usually will go for the autograph unless it's just someone that I have to get a picture with. But autographs are fun and you get to have that conversation. But if you're in the wild, I agree with Ken. I'm just like, I don't want to bug him.
No.
And there's because of some of the industry we work with, you do you want a photo with them or do you want to one day work with them is not necessarily something that's a reality, but it's something to consider. There is, though, I will say, in 2017, I did meet a celebrity, 2 of them actually, and I did get a photo. Alex and Molly Damon of Star Wars Explained, Orlando, Florida, at a bar. I did take that photo.
Yeah, I think we were going to your meetup though. So
that's true.
So we got a photo with you.
That's true, but I was blown away by the wonderful Star Wars Explained team. I had to get a photo.
I take it back. I got a autograph I wasn't planning to at the Doctor Who convention, Gallifrey 1, which normally they have like the whole massive system for signatures of doctors and companions in that. But then they also have people set up in the hallway that you could just walk up to sometimes. And I did a double take because not a Doctor Who actor is the actor Andrew Robinson, who's been in many things, but he was Garrick on Deep Space Nine. And I just kind of couldn't believe that I could just walk up to Garrick.
Right.
So I was like, can I just walk up? And he's like, please do, because there wasn't a big line.
Yes.
And that was really great because I did get to chat with him. And I said that my wife and I rewatched Deep Space Nine during the pandemic show. I rewatched it. She'd never seen it, and it was really moving and helpful. And he had that very gracious, like, thank you for the compliment. But then I picked out a picture of Garrick where the character Garrick is like, his eyes are bulging and he's kind of like looking like he has no patience, and it's down in one corner. And it's like, can you write to Joseph and then make a line like you're making that gesture at me? And he's like, that'd be great. And he had fun doing it. And
yeah, that's amazing. Good stuff.
It was a great interaction.
How's the peppers, Alex? They're
good.
Good
Molly
dinner?
did a great job as usual.
As usual. Yeah.
What are they stuffed with?
Sausage, I think. Sausage and zucchini.
Wow.
Love it.
We are going to just turn this into ForceCenter.
Yeah, I have not had dinner, but I did have lunch with my buddy Matt Key. So I am full. Which is why I'm being generous with the whiskey this time. I have a good base.
And our listener and wonderful person Anakin Crespin says, I'm getting Hayden Christensen's autograph tomorrow, and I'm nervous. AF.
Anakin, you have one of the best stories he's ever going to hear. That's your name. So you're going to be like, hey, guess what I'm named after? And you're going to have a wonderful exchange. You're in the power seat for this one. All right. Spiders, they're more afraid of you than you are of them. And Hayden's going to have a blast here in your story.
I don't want to be disingenuous, but that would be a great icebreaker of like every person you met. Like, you won't believe this, Mr. McDermott, but my name is Sheev too.
Dear boy, why?
Oh no!
I don't want to meet Matt Dormer and be like, I named my son Sleaze Bagano.
That's
Why?
amazing. Hey, like Joseph, you always say there's someone with a tattoo of every character out there, right? Someone's got a sleazebag on him.
Somebody's got a sleazebag on him.
Love that there. All right, going back to the questions here. What do you got? Anything jump to mind here? There's some great ones here today.
Yeah. Here's a great one from Amaranth, who is always great and active on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on the stream, and thanks for the super chat. Amaranth says, following on a recent podcast, what's the cutest Star Wars item, toy, stuffy, storybook, etc. you currently have? Mine is the shoulder-sitting toddler porg from the creature stall at Galaxy's Edge.
Alex, you answer. I'll be right back.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna remove this so we can see Alex.
The cutest item in Reach is probably it's not the 9-inch nubs. It's it's the little plush nubs that Molly got and then left on my desk. This is hers, but I'm happy to have it right here.
That is great.
It is ridiculously cute.
I'm sure Molly has all of the cutest items in our collection because she has a billion Grogu things and at least 3 Nubs items already.
I saw a great Grogu out in the wild that I need to post a picture of. It is clearly intended to be like a dashboard Grogu in like a minivan. But the minivan was parked and Grogu was leaned up, so there's like the depression on his head. He just looked like it was like FML Grogu.
Yeah. My answer is I have one that answers this question and the question that just popped up from 8984M. What is your toy most likely to be possessed and haunt you? It's this one here. It is the plush Wampa that I
have that.
It's the best. It's just the cutest little Wampa, but also haunted forever. Yeah. I love this one.
I think my most cute and most haunted is the Porg I got in January of 2018. When Last Jedi came out, Target had a variety of different kinds of Porgs. And I really like this one because it has actual, not glass or whatever, but hard eyes, whatever that material is, with like a little bit of a glow in them when the sun hits them, but just big, bulging, staring eyes, and it's very soft and very cuddly. So it's the cutest one I have, but also it does look like it's really pondering life. It really looks like the camera zooming in on Arrested Development, and I made a terrible mistake. I've made a terrible mistake, Porg.
Marta. That's amazing. Great. Yes, no, I love cute Star Wars toys, man, and they're usually the impulse buys, right? I mean, really, the entire world should be searching for 9-inch nubs, but it's the ones that you see out and about, or even at a Disneyland, at a Galaxy's Edge thing, where you're just like that. Oh, I never knew I wanted the plush Tauntaun, but here we are. That kind of thing.
I had to throw this up because Trey T is correct. Ken's life-size Ewok is terrifying.
So, shout out to Emerald Moon, Tree Out Endor, who I don't think they do this anymore, but yes, I have the life-size Ewok that's appeared in a lot of videos. It was I met them in Orlando, actually. So I got it. So it's in my garage, and I don't know. I'm gonna set up a camera because my pest spray guys have to go in there, and I don't know what they think when they turn the corner and there's a life-size Wicket staring at them, and I want to get their reactions. It's got to throw them for them.
This could be a whole new reality show of just when strangers see my Ewok.
Love this there. Shout out to Paranormal Highway. Check it in. I don't know. I'm going to check that out. I love a good Paranormal Highway story there. There we go. I'm watching my Ghost Adventures last night. Great stuff. Fun show today as Alex is making me hungry. Alex is making me hungry.
Sorry, I'm done. Wait.
No, take it.
I'm done.
Take it. Clean Plate Club. Clean Plate Club. Speaking of Anakin, Crespedius is two-parter in here. Thank you for the super chat again. We appreciate your super chats to help support the show and keep us helping us to develop great shows like Jedi Beat, the new Jennifer Landis series. That's the old series redone. because that's what Jennifer does. She's so darn good at that. That's coming very soon here. Anakin says, hello, not a question, but finally finished Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I loved it so much, and I'm desperate to hear you guys talk about how the events unfolded. So even if it takes months or years or decades, please feel free to do a deep dive if Joseph ever decides to buy a new console. To be clear, I don't think it's about Joseph deciding to buy a new console. It's just when it's possible, because it's quite an emotional commitment.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. I gotta redo my entire living room to make room for that beast. My current TV stand will not accommodate that giant Dracula-looking machine, which I like giant Dracula-looking things. I'm a big fan of those. I do want to play it someday. And I want to ask a question of Alex. I haven't had a chance to watch any of your. Well, I didn't watch any of your videos about this because I'm trying to stay free of the story because it still hasn't been spoiled for me. I know you love the story and the gameplay of the first video game. Did you love this one just as much? Did it knock it out of the park for you?
This is a better game. I like Fallen Order's story more, but Survivor, I think, lived up. I still really, really liked the story.
Okay.
There were just some beats in Fallen Order. Like Fallen Order had the benefit of I didn't really have the expectation of a great story from it. I was like, this will be a fun game, and that's it. And so the whole time they just kept hitting me with stuff that I wasn't expecting. So then this time I was kind of like, all right, impress me, Survivor. And it did. But
okay.
But I also had those expectations for it.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. But you feel like it leveled up on the actual gameplay, even better.
The game itself is like there's so much more to do. There's so many more things to experience. Even the cosmetics are like, I'm someone that doesn't really bother with changing character costumes all that much, but unlocking that stuff was fun. There's songs you can unlock in a DJ droid that'll play them for you. Like there's a lot of fun stuff. Like
that's my favorite thing I've heard about this video game, that there's a DJ droid.
The soundtrack is out, music. and it's all real world bands that have now made Star Wars bands, and they've all made their own music, and they've got the playlist on Spotify, and I've listened to it several times. I love it.
Yeah,
that's great. But yeah, so I definitely want to play it at some point. I see people like Amaranth saying watch the cutscene movies for both of them. I've considered doing that. I had so much FOMO isn't right, because that's fear of missing out. And this was not fear. This was reality of missing out. Romo, in relation to our friend Romo. And I was really, really bummed about it. And then it was just like I felt like everything I saw was hype up to it coming out. And then I didn't have to dodge spoilers. I just felt like it was just people played it, they liked it, and everybody moved on. Yeah. Like it was a weird experience for me. And I don't know if that's just because there was so much Star Wars out in those couple months at the same time as Celebration that just people devoured it and they liked it, and now we're on to the next thing. I'm curious if either of you have any insights, having actually played it, on that response.
I found the same thing, but as you know, I've documented, I didn't love the game as much as other people. I do like story, and I want to publicly, I said it on the podcast, but publicly to Alex's face, thanking him. His deep dive on the story helped me see some things that I had grumpily refused to engage with. And I really actually appreciate a lot of the story because of Alex's insightful video on it. So Alex, thanks for that. And as you text me, yay! Now I'm a ForceCenter now. I
was like, I did a ForceCenter.
Just because it's actually there's one that's one of the characters. I won't say, but it's a big one, and I just kind of had rolled my eyes while playing the game, and then going back, I was like, oh yeah, no, actually, no. Alex's take on that is really both insightful and I think even the correct one. So. That's good there. But yeah, I actually agree with you, Joseph. Like, it seemed like, I don't want to say people moved on fast just because of the game, but just because maybe that's the cycle we're in now, which is sometimes kind of a bummer, right? Like, you want to still roll around in it. You still want to play around. Like, even like I did not love Squadrons either, only because I wasn't good at flying. I thought it was so good as a Star Wars flying simulator game that it almost lost me. But I enjoyed it. And thought the characters were great and everything, and it just poof, it kind of came and went, and sometimes it bums me out,
It's especially with just the gaming world. Like it came out a couple weeks before Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is probably going to win Game of the Year this year. It's just so highly anticipated, and it was great. And I had people asking me like, "What do you think of Tears of the Kingdom?" And I was like, "I'm not starting it until I 100% Survivor." Like I wanted to stay in that world and play in it, and then I started Tears of the Kingdom. But like, there's so many games coming out that it's not just that there's so much Star Wars coming out. It's also that in the gaming world, people have to like move on and keep up.
Yeah, that's what 8984M here just said. I think it's also because a lot of games have come out in this time period, to be honest. Yeah. And I was such a big Legend of Zelda person, and I just don't have the same time in my life for video games, and it haunts me. It haunts me.
Yeah. Oh, that Laserbolt video says, I love Squadron so much. Laserbolt Wood, he has the great YouTube channel I highlighted last month where he just shows flight simulator games where he just takes his Cessna and flies in Microsoft's Flight Simulator. And they're the most mesmerizing videos. I just sit and watch them fly around like Australia. It's so of course you would, Laserbolts. You're good at flying X-Wings.
Yeah. Well, I really hope to discuss it someday. And I know there are people saying how great all of the Star Wars Explained content is about Jedi Survivor. So that is great. And I'm glad you could do a ForceCenter to Ken.
he
I was pretty proud.
You soothed my angry heart. Where Alex, you see any question you want here? Anything that pops to mind? You know, and again,
I haven't been looking, but I'll look.
Okay. Well, we'll keep digging in here. Jared has a real big, almost thumbnail worthy question here. What's more iconic, Indy's hat or Indy's whip? I mean, maybe it's because I have the hat hanging right over there. I got to go hat, right? It's hard to separate the two, but I think you see the hat more than the whip.
Yeah, I think, I think the both together are like, you know, the ultimate Indiana Jones. If you just see the hat and be like, that could maybe be another guy. Oh, the whip. No, Indiana Jones. All right. But the whip ultimately is a weapon, and it is a symbol of creativity. And somehow they did the Douglas Adams towel bit, but for an action hero, and made it not a joke of like, I found the thing that's most useful in most situations. It's a whip. But the hat, especially to me, the way it's introduced in Last Crusade, the hat is his soul. So I just feel like the hat is ultimately more symbolic of who he is. That if something needs to get done, that hat's going to go on and he's going to do it. I think it starts in the movies as just great, you know, filmmaking by Spielberg to put him over as a character, to make the hat really iconic and to create that silhouette. But as the movies go on and he does the like tug, and like the tug means, oh damn, you're in trouble now. Indy's committed. To me, it's the hat.
Okay, Alex.
I agree. It's the hat. I'm trying to
Clean
think.
sweep.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to get an Indiana Jones action figure, which I need to, or a statue or something,
clearly,
if I found one that had him in the hat but not the whip, I'd be like, that's still Indiana Jones. If I saw one where he had the whip and no hat, I'd be like, that's weird. So, and I agree with the silhouette and everything. The amount of times we see the silhouette against the sunset or the shadow on Marion's wall, like, I gotta go hat.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying hat too, but we do, you know, we want to honor both sides of the argument here. 8984M says Devil's Advocate, whip. I imagine him pulp swinging all the time. The pulp angle, that's a key one, Joseph. Ben Wellington says he's introduced with the whip. For me, that's what I associate with him more. His hat changes. Yeah, that's true. And then this is my favorite one. Laserbolt, whip, I guess. Not everyone looks like Indy in the hat. And trust me, I've tried to wear that hat as Indy. It doesn't work. It doesn't. I don't look cool.
I would like to cosplay as the retro indie Raiders of the Lost Ark action figure with the whip that has a handle that looks like a large bell, and see if anybody recognizes.
Yeah.
Why is that guy's whip all weird?
Yep. Yeah. That's amazing. That's fun. That's a great question. Big headlining question there. And I'm sure the debate will go on for ages.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing is you can go to the Indiana Jones ride and then go to the gift shop and you can get the set with both of them, right? You can get the hat and the plastic whip there. It's all good. It's all good. All good. All right. More questions coming in. Thank you all for your questions out there. Joseph's going to choose one here, but want to say thank you for super chats, helping to support the show here to Friday night. And we've held Alex hostage, but he can go at any point. Alex, I know you have a life, but we're happy to have you here tonight.
Not really.
Answered so many questions, ate 3 peppers, just a champ. This isn't a question, but I started because I'm so intrigued. Neil Hanstock says, I went to see Indy 5 on Wednesday. For the first time, I went to a 4DX showing. I'm not sure whether the movie or the cinema was the bigger roller coaster. Great movie. Now, all the 4 things, there's 4DX, 4MDX. I get confused between them and bikes and time travel. But they're all 4, and they all do different levels of things to you, as I understand it. Some are just the chairs. Some like blow air at you or mist you with water, I hope. But I saw the latest Scream movie, and there were a couple parts where the chair shaking was too much. Like early on, a character gets tased in the balls. The chair's like, it was like,
feel
you are
everything.
in it. Exactly right. You are in the movie, and like,
Just a big foot. A foot comes out from the row in front of you and just go-goom, go-goom.
It's got a boot in the chair in front of you, and it literally like, the full 4MDX experience. Anybody gets kicked in the balls, so will you. Yeah. Boing. That one cracked me up, and then so I was like, but then a lot of it was really effective. That shook in the right directions of the motion of the stabs from Ghostface, and it was effective. It didn't blow anything on me. It was just motion. So I was curious to see what a movie like Indiana Jones, which is meant to be like all action, all excitement all the time. I might have to try this out. But I was also curious if either of you have tried the 4 whatevers.
I have not. I admit I get I'm one of the people that gets nauseated by the 3D, which I've been told several times by people who work in the industry. It's not the 3D that's doing it. There's some kind of scientific answer. Great. I start to barf. All right. The Harry Potter ride almost killed me at Universal. So whenever I hear like that, I'm always like, sounds great. I don't know if it's for me. Maybe I'll go to the drive-in and put my speaker box on the window. That's about as close as I can get. So, but I'm curious. I definitely, I'll get a loan. I'll get a movie ticket theater loan, movie theater ticket loan, and go catch it once. Because this would be a great movie for that.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Are you at all tempted by it, Alex? Have you tried it?
I've never tried one. I was actually looking to see if they had them in Atlanta, and they do at one theater. I think I'd want to go for like a Fast and the Furious movie or something. I don't know that I'd want it for Indy or Star Wars or something that I super want to like pay attention to. But a second viewing of Indy, I think that could be fun.
Yeah, second or third viewing might be fun. I was also, the other weird experience was, this was one of the showings I went to with almost no one there, and I assumed it was like, oh, this is the 4 whatever X theater, and it was just 2 rows. So like, there's also this weird thing of like a bunch of people like, we're in normal seats that don't move, watching you all jerk around down there. It isn't that big that you're flying, but you're not actually being thrown around. That would be quite distracting.
It's like Star Wars.
It's fun to like, would you like to watch it in 4X, or would you like one of the seats that watches people watching it in 4X?
I'd pay more for that than the actual 4X seats. That's amazing. Yeah. I love. We should ask your dog also, Alex.
Hilo. Oh, what do you want?
Hilo.
Just coming into wine.
That's good. Mission Impossible would be some of those movies. So we can really, if you're gonna go, feel it. Well, let's see. Haunted Autopsis, the 2 hour and 34 minute. Sorry, where did I go?
I hit the wrong button.
No, you're good. You got 2 hour 34 minutes of Dial Destiny shaking seat would destroy my back. But my thought here, Haunted Autumn, is maybe it would massage your back. Maybe 2 hours and 34 minutes of a shake, a nice rhythmic shake on your back might heal it. So I'm with you on the back problems, but
yeah. Oh yeah, no, and it would make my my bladder concerns even worse. Yeah, 2 hours and under for 4X for me.
Yeah. There you go. We got some great stuff coming in here, and we got so Andrew Kelso put this, and I did see this got answered in the chat, but Joseph, you started, and I think it's a great one here. Did Dr. Schneider purposely choose the wrong Grail? And yeah, the simple direct answer is yeah, I've always interpreted as that the look she gives Indy, which is one of the reasons I do. Again, it's weird to say love the character. She makes some bad life choices, but I love about the story and her involvement in there. It is truly a you don't get to just kind of ride the fence is the way I kind of took it too, and it's a good redemption point, but she doesn't stick with it because it's still about the choices in front of you for me.
Yeah, I really appreciate the characters got the like. Yeah, it'll be okay to sign up with the Nazis. The end will justify the means. Don't worry about it. And I think that's what's really interesting about her character is that she thinks she can bend in that way. But yeah, I mean, it definitely from that look, that's definitely the way I took it on my most recent viewing.
Yeah,
like and I love how much everybody not everybody, but I guess Elsa in Indy keep having that sort of push pull with the temptation of the cup and whether or not they can let it go or not.
Yeah, indeed.
I fully agree with that look that she gives. I saw someone today on Twitter post that when Donovan first has the cup in the background, you can see kind of a different take of that look where she looks over at Indy and like specifically shakes her head. But she also, the second Donovan dies, she and Indy start working together and they're just like bouncing ideas back and forth. And she straight up says like, it wouldn't be made of gold.
Yeah.
So she knows what she's doing. Also, I like what you said, Ken, about her deciding to sign up or trying to. And I like the Dial of Destiny kind of comments on that as well, because like the whole Voller / Werner von Braun thing and Americans accepting former Nazis into their ranks and trying to work with and control them. I was like, I'm glad that Dial of Destiny had something to say about that as well.
Yep. Love that. No, there's can't wait can't wait to talk on our deeper discussion this Monday. And my final I think it's a sillier question. But so like at the premiere, there was one young lady who was cosplaying as Dr. Schneider in the tank sequence with the hat and the outfit she had there. Great look. Allison Duty is a wonderful performer, long, wonderful career. She looks great as Dr. Elsa. Totally get it. But we were up in the upper balcony looking down. We all went, "Hey, look, Elsa." Then there was a pause, me, Mark Ellis, some other friends, and we all came out like, is that who you should be dressing up as?
Right.
It's like, German mechanic. Not a lot of German mechanic Pat Roach cosplays out there. Right? So
no shoes, no shirt, no theater.
But it's an iconic look. But I'm like, that's maybe not. But anyways, I don't know. It's a silly question.
I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it so much with Star Wars, the way like Star Wars in particular can really inhabit this space of it is a safe place to play with evil and with bad guys, and the way Vader can be like, like he's on bed sheets. You're not gonna put other murderers on bed sheets. And I think it has to do with sometimes with like how invested in the real world it is, And for me, Elsa's story is a true cautionary tale of you align yourself at all with beliefs that and actions that horrific. Then you're a part of them.
Yeah.
And that makes it, that makes it harder.
Yeah. And certainly, and it was great cosplay, accurate. It was wonderful. Yeah. So certainly not casting any aspersions over there, but it was a funny moment because we all, as fans, were all just like, hey, look. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know about that. And it does hit a little different than Star Wars, where you're not it's not too weird to see, like you said, Vader or Krennic, a lot of great Krennics at Celebration. Yeah.
It'd be, if I was a cosplayer, it'd be one of the things I'd do. Just going around shaking my fist with a white cape. Come on.
Yeah. Love that there. Yeah, Ben points out, not easy cosplaying as villains that are researching in real life, unfortunately. I would agree with that.
It's an eloquent way to say what I was trying to say. We got a Indiana Jones Star Wars question mashup in a way. Alex Cameron Smith, who had to go a while ago, but hey, maybe catch this on the replay. Gotta go soon, so leaving this here. Not speculating, but how would you feel if Mr. Mangold used unreliable narrators in the Dawn of the Jedi film? I think this is a great thing to talk about because it's happening a long time ago.
Yeah.
We only know so much about the film. It seems like every large indie event we get another interview snippet that I'm sure we'll discuss on ForceCenter this week. But I had been wondering that it's so old. Could it be like this is instead of a crawl? I know Kathleen Kennedy said they'll all have crawls, but what if they had variations of crawls? What if this started with like an ancient Jedi text opening and it left you with, this is the story that we believe happened. And so an unreliable narrator, not from the perspective of like, that's shifty, Hondo's telling me the story, but just the fact that could it be set up as you are being told a story, therefore it does have some malleability and some room for interpretation. I would be intrigued by that. Alex trying to lock down canon timelines, would that be bonkers?
I'd be like, well, this is probably what happened around this time. I think my instinct or my gut tells me that I would prefer it be a version of the story, but based on some maybe these are the quotes that you're talking about, but Kathleen Kennedy kind of talked about how the New Jedi Order and the Dawn of the Jedi films could be connected in a way, and I do like that idea that as Rey is learning about how she wants to make her own Jedi Order, she could be informed about the very first Jedi Order, and so she finds a book, and then at the start of the Dawn of the Jedi film, she opens that book and it takes us away. I don't dislike that idea, but I think I would want it to be like, no, this is a historical recounting of what happened.
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah. I love it. And I started seeing in chat someone highlighting Fire and Blood, which is what House of the Dragon is based on, which is a book, a in-world history book written by unabashed, unreliable narrators. Like the narrators are like, let me tell you what I think happened because I'm pretty sure I heard this. And it fuels every thought and theory they have as narrators. So I would love that. I would love that. And then what happens is the show comes out and then book fans start arguing with the show when the show's like, yeah, no, you read something literally by a maester who was lying. So don't worry.
I was about to say, like, I just don't think fandom could also handle that.
That is something too. But in terms of like, what Joseph's describing as acknowledging it and it being a story from legend, so to speak, I think they add a little magic to it. But I definitely want some form of unreliable narrator in there because you're dealing with this just awesome, awe-inspiring power, this force. And it's about what you do with it and how do you pick sides and form teams and what does that even mean and who's coming down the mountain with the 10 commandments for this. And just like every character populating the story is gonna have a take and be unreliable to the actual truth. So having it played with in some way, I think is a tantalizing possibility. And I think it's in good hands with Big Jim Mangold.
Yeah, for me, I take a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I know other people have different takes, so I am totally sharing my own. That it's such a storybook opening that in some ways, I feel like every single Star Wars story, every animated story, every Young Jedi Adventures. This is what some people believe. Some people believe Nubs was this cute, but we'll never know the full truth. I think that to me is part of the charm, and especially from the era that I grew up in, where Star Wars and Star Trek were two of the big genre things that you had for space, and Star Trek was so in the like, this is the better future we could maybe have if we get our glup shit out together. And Star Wars was this fantasy from long ago, something from the mists of time, reawakening, and that difference has always really spoken to me.
Yeah, no, love that. And you also just drove home the fact that that's a great curse word we all should use. Love that there. Yeah, I'm excited too. Even more coming out of Dial of Destiny to see what James can do. And it just seems like a good combination with how he views things versus what he feels writing Star Wars movies and what he experienced writing an indie movie or putting together an indie movie. I know he's talked about being feeling too locked in by canon. He doesn't use the word canon, but just the saga, the lore. And I don't disagree with that. I think it's a little more open than he would give it credit for, but also I haven't made an Indiana Jones movie. He has, so he knows how to deal with it. But I love hearing him talk about that and go, hey, that didn't interest me as an artist, but having more of a blank canvas and how I approach it, that interests me. That just gives me even more confidence that it's a good matchup. It's a good matchup for storyteller and story.
Yeah. I've been going through his filmography or some of the movies that I haven't seen yet. Like I hadn't seen Ford v Ferrari or Girl Interrupted, and I really like.
I have the DVD of Girl Interrupted. You want me to mail it to you?
It's on Netflix. So Molly and I watched it the other day, and it was great. I liked it. I love Logan and 3:10 to Yuma, and I was just I was starting to pick out all of these similar ideas that pop up in his movies, and it got me really, really psyched for what he could potentially do in Dawn of the Jedi. If he keeps that trend going, he might not, but lots of fun ideas.
Yeah. I love his clarity. I know I mentioned this on the podcast. I think there isn't a right or wrong answer. Different creators like different things. I like that Favreau and Filoni seem to treat canon like the improv idea of like a new idea is a gift. It's not, if somebody says something new that you weren't expecting, it's not a problem. It's oh, cool, this will add dimension. There's some writers who take it that way. And there's some writers, and I think I'm somewhere in between. There's sometimes that I'm like, oh, new idea, cool, great. And there are other times where like, I want to go this way, and anything that makes me pivot is frustrating because I just want to see what's over there, and I don't want to be derailed at all. I just want to go forward. And I think that his clarity of what he needs and wants and likes as a writer is a really good sign that he has vision. Yeah,
absolutely. Big Jim. Girl Interrupted. Great film, right, Alex? Great film.
Yeah.
Great use of the song Old 55. Love that one. 1999. What a year for film.
Paul Wright also has a great take on the unreliable narrator. What, we can't have it told 3PO style on Endor? A 2-hour movie where like
who can do it?
Oh yeah. Be great. I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Brian. Sorry, I cut you off. Brian Ward says maybe Ray finds Huang, and that's the connection. There you go.
Yeah.
And I think we are going to dive into that quote Monday because I saw it. I saw some other podcasters maybe take it too literally. I think it's a big thematic idea versus a literal connection, but it also doesn't mean all these things we're having fun talking about couldn't happen, including Huang.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is that I love that 3PO scene in Return of the Jedi, and part of the fun is that you know the story. How would you feel watching like a solid 2 hours of 3PO and you didn't know the story and you could only kind of guess what Toronto Gosh might be?
That should be the trailer for the
movie. Tony Daniels is already up at Lucasfilm's offices, like knocking right now. I heard on ForceCenter, there's a great idea. Anthony, it's for your one-man
hilarious.
show. He's delightful.
Mhm.
Love it there. We're here for about another half hour. If you got some questions, we got some more to get to. If you have a super chat to highlight the question, we'd appreciate that. That's great as well. But we're having a lot of fun. We have special thanks. We're gonna cut him loose here in about 15, 20 minutes because I'm sure he was probably 1 second away from putting on his sweatpants and enjoying a Friday night. But Alex Damon, thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm going out. I'm going out
Yeah.
for a show.
That's right.
Nice.
You said a show.
Yeah, my friends
All
are
right.
doing an improv show. I got to go support them.
Have you got your suggestions ready?
I don't. And
Okay.
honestly, it sounds like they're going to be tortured enough without me. So
Yeah.
I'll let people who don't know them mess with them.
Yeah. We've all done too many improv shows where you get a suggestion and you just see all the people on stage go, "Yeah, all right."
I like it when you've got like an older, really seasoned improv person who's just like, no, yes. The first thing I heard was dick, but no. I'm going with the third thing I heard.
One of my Groundlings directors, Kara Mariyama, was just a champion at that. When the crowd would be that, she'd look at him and be like, nah. Love that. Oh man. Jared's got a lot of winning questions tonight. Who is the best facial hair in Star Wars? This is just a setup. To get to Crick's mate Ain't Beard.
Ooh, controversy. Yeah, maybe we've done which action figure will win in a fight. Maybe we'll do whose facial hair would win in a fight. Can Madine's beard possibly take Han's beard in the video game?
In Battlefront 2.
Well, since Crix's is fake,
yes,
then
Nope.
I say it loses all battles.
Yeah.
Lando seems like
a
solid answer to me.
Lando, yeah. Look, I'm trying to save Alex's answer for Alex.
I feel like you're both just trolling me, and I'm not going to say anything until
you're not going to
say the right answer. Until you
yeah, you're right. General Merrick's beard or mustache is definitely the best in Star Wars.
Look, that one's pretty good.
What's his name? Bob's mustache waxer. Is that the character's
Are
name?
you talking about Bob Hudsell?
No.
Because I actually was going to be like, obviously the answer is Big Starklighter, but Bob Hudsell, General Bob Hudsell, has an amazing mustache.
Yes. What is it about? I know you love Biggs, as you should. Alex, what makes his mustache so iconic for you?
I don't even know at this point. Like it all started because I just liked Biggs the character, and then since his mustache is like his most defining feature, I latched onto that. I don't know. I have no good answer to what makes it so iconic. Let me stare at it for a minute.
Brian Ward points out the Dex has a mustache. Yeah. It is. I think it's the answer. I really think because. So, and there's a lot of other hairstyles, especially on the Imperial side, that are, establish kind of how facial hair is in the galaxy, at least in that era. But it also is very 1970s, right? Like it's my dad had the mustache, like and still does. But yeah, that's the thing about Biggs is it's so from the world in 1975, 76, 77, but that's the standard bearer, and any mustache in Star Wars is held against Biggs, I think. Any mustache or even beard. Yeah.
The first word I thought when I pulled up a picture of him was just confident. That is a confident mustache. It is not like Bob Hudsell's is great. It's thick. It's huge.
Yeah.
But like Biggs chose this look. It works for him. He keeps it well maintained and groomed. It just all around. It is intentional. He knows what he's doing.
I think his mustache is good because somehow he triumphs over all the negative associations one should have with that mustache. Right. For some reason, he does not look like this is a father of four at McDonald's getting a Shamrock Shake in 1976. He does not look like he is, working in one of the primary industries of the San Fernando Valley of the 1970s.
Have you seen that Robot Chicken sketch? There's a call out to exactly that.
I have not, but that is the association. One should look at him and go, "Oh, Oh, this is upsetting. Is he was friends with Dirk Diggler, right? Like that's the association you should have. And yet to me, he has this trusted older brother. I feel like when I look at him, my instinct should be don't get in a van with Big Starklighter. But instead, my instinct is my big brother's here to help me and it's okay. How does he do it?
He's got a cape, so he must be trustworthy.
He's got a cape. It's amazing. Biggs is truly deserves all your love. Yeah, I lived for about 4 years in Canoga Park near Chatsworth, and the corner near my apartment complex was a production studio for something called Wildlife Productions that I thought was a documentary house for nature films. Walked to my car one day. It was not. It was not.
Yep. Oh, there's some stories. Now, I was gonna mention another character, but Jared, who is a wonderful question machine, asking many great questions, is shouting the answer that he desires. General Dodana, triple exclamation points. It isn't talked about enough. That is he's got a straight up old
that's a great beard.
Good old Saint Nick of beard going on there.
And so no shade to Ian McElhenney, but the Alex McCrindle version is.
Oh yeah. No, Like I love. I just said his line. So you've told us, but you haven't Barristan Selmy in Star Wars is amazing. But McCrindle he's a legend.
He's the original.
Sorry. No pork in his beard. That beard's seen some stuff. As has mine. Love that there. Beautiful stuff. This has been nothing but silliness that I absolutely love. Oh, I want to. What is this one? Anakin has this super chat here. Alex, what do you think of Star Wars 35? Did I miss some movie that came out? What is that?
Yeah, episode 35. You've missed a lot. You've been asleep for 2,000 years. The latest issue of Charles Soule's Star Wars run was very good. Luke has begun the search for his new Kyber crystal, and that was the best issue of that comic I've read in a long time. I think.
Okay, how are you feeling about it? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I picked it up yesterday. It's in my stack. I am now 3 stacks, which is well over $100 of comics behind. So I'm going to get to that, but I have it. I have it in my possession.
I love talking about how behind we are on Star Wars publishing in monetary terms. Yeah, we're good. $60 behind in High Republic. Yeah. Which you got to get caught up on. I don't think I've ever read anything by Charles. I always forget. Soule.
Soule.
Charles Soule.
I hope that's how I say it.
Some of his stuff is my very favorite of all Star Wars publishing. How are you enjoying this run? Is it just that 35 issue is really amazing, or is it that it's been a little rocky for you, Alex?
Compared to like his Darth Vader run, which I thought was basically flawless, it hasn't been as good for me. There have been arcs that I thought were really good, and then the Star Wars comics got really wrapped up into all these big crossover events, and sometimes they're great, and sometimes it seems like series by series. Like Dr. Aphra was really interesting in the Crimson Reign storyline, but I wasn't really as into the main Star Wars run. But now that stuff is over and Star Wars is kind of doing its own thing and letting Luke just continue his story, like I'm excited about that. So it's up and down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've discussed around these parts. I'm in the same boat. Yes, I am behind, but I keep up on it as best I can. And yeah, there's some. I haven't started the Santa Staros one. Real excited. I have all of them in possession. I'm 2 issues into the Porter Ingle one. Great. Like
I like that one.
Yeah. Just over the crossovers work for some folks. I love that they brought Kara back. Love it. As a case where sometimes I have to listen to our own advice about expectations and everything. I had a lot of thoughts of where I would want Kira to go, and those weren't necessarily it at every beat. So that's for me to wrestle with and them to tell their story. So, but yeah, I'm with you on that.
Jared, question machine Willette has a question for Alex that I actually need the answer to. So, question for Alex: would you say to read the High Republic in release order or timeline order? I haven't read anything from Phase 2 yet, and I really want to get caught up before Phase 3. Do you have suggestions?
I mean, for someone who's a brand new reader, I would say read. I always say do release order for the most part. Just that's how the creators intended it to be read. So I would do Phase 1, then Phase 2. But Phase 2 has been interesting in its release order, its schedule, especially in the Dark Horse side. Like, I feel like for some reason Dark Horse just wasn't able to keep up because the end of the Edge of Balance manga for this phase, the last page is like, and the High Republic will return in Phase 3. But also we have 3 more comic issues of the High Republic adventures. So like the release has been a little out of whack for Phase 2, but I still think it's pretty safe to read that way.
And for are the books pretty safe release order? Because I want to think that there was kind of a publishing kerfluffle of them getting reordered or something.
I think they just were debating what the order should be, like as the group of authors. The way that they were written, they're all like part 1, part 2. I kind of feel like as long as you read any of the part 1s before any of the part 2s, you'll be all right.
Okay, cool.
I guess I would read the part 1s and then the part 2s, but in what order you read those,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I tried taking notes, but I got lost. But I'm excited. I and Joseph and I talk about this on the podcast. But like, I look at my stack of books on my coffee table, and I'm sad that I'm not caught up. It's not like I'm proud of it or it's a choice I made. I'm sad I'm not caught up, so I can't wait to get to it.
The comics are interesting. Like that seems to be just my least favorite way to take in a story. The ones that I like, I love, but a lot of the comics, I feel like I'm just kind of going through the motions with, especially when they do like the Mandalorian adaptation.
Yeah,
season 2 and season 1. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you can sometimes get new perspectives and everything, but I didn't. Funny you mentioned the first issue of season 2's adaptation came out, and I didn't pick it up Wednesday when I was there. I was like, I'll get to that one. I'm so behind. There you go. Great stuff. Oh, Alex, we're gonna wrap up here in a few minutes, but we want to give you a chance to get out and get ready to go to the improv show. So, any final parting thoughts? What's your Indiana Jones words of wisdom for those who are about to see Dial of Destiny?
Oh, just go have fun. It is fun. It's a really, really fun movie. I want to see it again because I think I will appreciate it even more. Oh, Hilo like heard you say I was wrapping up because he just came into play. But just go expecting a good, fun, campy time, and I think you'll be happy.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Words of wisdom.
You heard it from Mr. Indiana Jones explained himself, Alex David. All right, Alex. Bye, buddy. Happy improv. Give him some good situations and places to work, and please say hello to Molly for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for letting me crash. Have a good night.
Anytime.
Bye, buddy. A few more minutes left here. How you hold up, Joseph? I'm doing okay here.
I am done with my.
I do want to address the Amaranth. I keep thinking Ken has a talent on his thumb. This is a very big bandage because poor blind 17-year-old Baxter did not like when I reached to grab him to take him out for potties last night, and he bit the bleep out of my thumb. So I have, and it started to fray, and I'm just playing with it now. Poor thing.
Was it a hard chomp, or I know I've told you about my Chihuahua that had the serration technique.
No. This was this. Baxter does do that. This was a straight up punctured several layers of meat.
Okay.
Yes. I apologize to the neighborhood that heard me scream last night. But can't blame him. He is blind and 17, and I caught him off guard. I declared my intentions. When I enter the room, I go, "Hello, Baxter. Do you want to go potty?" But it didn't work.
I wish somebody would do that for me.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Love it. Any questions jump out to you, sir, here?
Want to make sure that we get to any of the kind super chats that we have not got to. Our friend Ken Bloom
Bloom's on fire tonight.
Alex, gonna need Alex to answer which indie figure he is. Gonna need Alex to buy an indie figure. So there's a lot of needs. Ken is on fire. He wants to do an all spoiler after show with us. This one is important. It's sad we didn't get to address it while Alex was still here. Which character deserves to inherit Big's stash?
Yeah, son of Biggs, right?
Son of Biggs.
Son of Biggs. General Merrick, even though it's not, he didn't inherit, but it captured the vibe well in 2016.
Oh yeah, no, I would be all for it if there was a discovery that Biggs had a son. There's nowhere that says he didn't. Yeah, so Biggs Darklighter Jr. With a grand perfect mustache.
Well, and then if the Rogue Squadron movie had happened, or who knows, maybe still happens. You never know in this crazy world. I would have loved to have kind of like Top Gun Maverick. Miles Teller has a very old school mustache in a modern day movie. Have some rebel pilot or resistance pilot be like, I saw a hollow of this guy Biggs and look at my mustache. That's what I got.
I love that. Yep, a lot of people in the first film and even in Empire have 70s, early 80s facial hair and hair in general. I love that it just has kind of become canon of that's the style of Alderaan. So I like interpreting sometimes I grew a beard to honor Alderaan.
Love it. A lot of people talk about Poe with a stash in the new Jedi Order movie. Poe with a mo, says Paul Wright. I would love that because Oscar Isaac, the man, the human, the actor behind Poe, grows just a mean beard and therefore a mean mustache. He's got a great, great beard. So I would love to see that. Just Poe shows up with just a mustache that kind of, comes down to here a bit. Not a handlebar, but just kind of bushy in this way. I could see that. Good flyboy mustache.
Or after Akbar Junior.
Yes. I'm sorry. That was a Kermit or Yoda more than anything. Yes.
I hope there's some cause that everyone in the new Republic grows facial hair for a month for some cause.
Well, because the hipster mustache is kind of dead style wise, at least in this neck of the woods. But now people just have more just mustaches, which I've had as an ironic handlebar pro wrestling mustache before, but I don't look good with mustache. My dad's had mustache for 47 years. But yeah, I see it more and more now. Maybe Miles Teller helped bring it back for that movie. So yeah, it would work in a new Jedi Order film.
Yeah, I had a mustache for one afternoon because my brother was convinced, for some reason we're not gonna have mustaches for the show, but for these promo photos we need a mustache. So he and another friend of ours grew beards and then shaved for a photo shoot, and it was nope.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Nope.
Yeah. Bad hairstyle stuff. There you go. Good comments, questions coming in here. This one here, I even started to do some research on the fly here. Jared, the question machine. What Universal monster would you like to go have Indy go up against? I think that's a great question. I'm not super expert in the Universal monsters, other than I've taken the tour ride many times, but I've seen a lot of them over the days. But I have a feeling you might appreciate him even more than I do, Joseph.
I do have a Bride of Frankenstein action figure, by Marion. I saw somebody responding in the chat, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think that's really interesting for Indy to encounter that kind of side of pulp. I love Dracula, so I could see him encountering a Nazi and going, "Wait, that Nazi's never in the sun." But I think the real one is Invisible Man.
That's
if people
great.
have never seen the original Universal pictures, Invisible Man, it's great.
Okay.
He's kind of an early film ranting megalomaniac. It's just somebody who needs and wants power. Kind of a perfect foil for Indy.
I think that's a great choice there. Bride of Frankenstein would be amazing, right? Like that'd be a
Yes.
different villain for him there too. I mean, it's and before anyone corrects us in the comments or later on, in Young Indiana Jones and the Adventures of, he does face off with Vlad the Impaler. If you want to go a little bit with that route, it's hard for me to not the headline of Indy versus the Mummy. It would look good on a YouTube thumbnail, but it would look good on a screen, I think too.
Oh yeah, no, and there's some great stuff there for Indy to mess with. Haunted Autumn also has Frankenstein, the doctor, not the monster. It's alive! It's alive! Psh, Indy punches.
That's awesome. Which makes me think of a great tweet by the one named Joseph Scrimshaw that pops up every now and then about that. Love that. Any final questions here? Hit me with what you got, Joseph. I am whiskeyed out and
yeah, no, I'm with you. This seems like a good way to wrap up. We promoted this as live Star Wars and Indiana Jones. We mostly talked about some Indiana Jones with some Star Wars unreliable narrators and mustaches thrown in. But to celebrate this weekend, this summer of Indiana Jones, let's end with the Sabersmith. If you could only show one scene from an indie movie to a new fan, which scene would it be?
Okay. What are you counting as scene?
Yeah.
I think sequence, the question's scene, but what do you think of when you think of scene? Because you as a writer probably like, well, that's a 1 to 2 page thing, or is it part of a larger sequence?
Yeah.
It's kind of based on what we talked about earlier.
I think the spirit of the Sabersmith's question is a sequence, like maybe not 20 minutes, not like the entire beginning of Temple of Doom, but a set piece. I think, would you show one set piece? I think one idea is
okay.
Yeah.
Man, it's really hard to not go to a lot of like even the Well of Souls and some of that stuff there, just in terms of like thrills, pulp, scariness, something scary. I think I'll return to Last Crusade. I'll push the limits of a scene, but from the moment he enters in to take the trials, penitent man shall pass, all the way to, you could even stop it. I guess you can go through Donovan's death, but I don't need to take the seal out and all that stuff. That gets too long. But maybe just the adventure, the mystical spiritual side versus the reality of it. It's not the spirit of God. It's some, it's some blades, but you have to understand the spirit of God to get, all this kind of thing, and the leap of faith and why he's doing it, why Indy is doing it, not for fortune glory. I'd maybe start there.
Yeah. My favorite part of Indy, and maybe in many ways, is this mixture of his love of knowledge. He talked about books and swagger, that he's an adventurer who does what needs to be done. But he has that literary side. So there's a part of me that's like, starting with when he crashes into the castle and rescues his dad. You get a good contrast there between the books and the swagger. A lot of people are saying, the opening of Raider, which is I think that probably is the answer, because it's the introduction to Indiana Jones. But yeah, I think what I would do is the setup to the truck chase in Raiders and the truck chase, because I think him being already so tired, so beat up, and Solid going, they got it on a truck, you could try, and you're like, what truck? I'm making it up as I go along. That spirit of, I'm not doing this to look cool or feel cool. I need a thing, so I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah,
I think that'd be it for me.
Here's the nice thing: you really can't lose with any choice. You really can't lose. And Amaranth says that some Indy and Marion banter. Marion's introduction into him showing up and maybe coming back to rescue her, or not rescue, but get everything and her with the I'm your goddamn partner, like that kind of captures a lot for me too.
Priceless, and a ton of great suggestions in the comment.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are about out of here. It's a Friday night. A lot of you got to go get to screenings. A lot of you were at screenings. So if you watch later, hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and We appreciate the support. We'll do this again in July, Joseph. Though, July will be a busy month too. Comic-Con. The Comic-Con's a bit different this year, but I'll be down there doing comedy. You're editing a film right now. It's a lot going on around ForceCenter.
I'm working away. I think I'll be in 3 to 4 different cities in July. So we'll see how it all goes. But I have so much fun doing these, and this was a particularly great one. Thank you to everyone joining us. It was so great that Alex popped in. It just really does have this really fun vibe of just hanging out. And we get to go on about our deep ideas and strong feelings, but see everybody's instant reactions about their favorites and their picks and their jokes. It's so much fun. So thank you all for being here with us.
It is a blast. We'll see you next month. That's it. So for Joseph, for myself, and for Jennifer Landa, her YouTube series, Jedi Beats, the YouTube edition drops July 17th. You can't wait. I know you can't. I'm telling you, you can't wait to get to the first episode. We'll see you, friends. Bye.
Thanks for watching ForceCenter. To follow us on Twitter, reach out at ForceCenter Pod. We're on Hive Social at ForceCenter. On Instagram, we are at ForceCenter Pod. Our Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. The podcast is available in a lot of different spots like Acast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just search, you'll find us. Want ForceCenter merch? Go to tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. Want to support us directly? You can at patreon.com/ForceCenter. For social links for the hosts and guests of ForceCenter, check the links in the description below. That's it for now. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.